My name is Jamie Howard and I've been in Kraków for 24 years. 1999 I came here. And I studied painting and I was on my way to becoming a successful or good, I hope, painter. And then I came to Kraków and I had a kind of crisis where I stopped painting. And it took me until about 2009 to buy a camera and then slowly develop my photography. I think now that I'm painting with my camera, as strange as that sounds, the paintings I would make, I'm not making with a paint and brush, but I'm doing with the camera. It was always at the back of my mind to get a camera, but I was always pathologically shy. Going out in public, I couldn't look up at street level, couldn't raise my eyes because of shyness, because also the world seemed too astonishingly beautiful sometimes. And I got my first camera in 2007, but I didn't take it out of the house for 2 years because I was so shy. I thought if someone sees me with a camera, they'll notice me. I think the most important way to start taking good photographs is to want to take a good photograph. Probably like anything. I want to do it, and that want is the driving force. You also need to be able to look at your own work objectively, which is difficult for photographers because when we take a photograph, it meant something to us subjectively and we want it to be a nice photo. And then you show it to someone else. My wife is a photographer, so I show her my work. And she says, no. And I go, yeah, I know that's not good, but I wanted it to be good. Starting photography, you look at photographers you admire. I did. And I thought, I want to take photographs like that. So how did he or she do it? How did they make this composition? How did they form relationships between people or objects in the photograph? And starting to do that, you learn the language. All visual art has the same language. If you're painting, if you're a photographer, anything visual has the same grammar, the same syntax on a 2D surface. And because I studied art, I knew a little about that already. And then I started to take photographs that I remember the first photograph I took. I thought, wow, that's really good. Now I look at it and I think that's really not very good. And then you learn from other people. I never studied photography and I wouldn't study photography because if you study, someone else is imposing on you their own way of doing something where they say that's, in Polish, nie wolno. It's very dogmatic. And I think dogma is quite dangerous in the visual arts. Sometimes I go out and I try to take photographs. I spend the day, okay, today I'm a photographer, and I come home with nothing. If I'm going to the post office, I suddenly see something and I take the photograph on the way to the post office. If I'm going to the supermarket, if I'm in the supermarket, I see something then. If I go looking for pictures, I don't find them. My photography is like a diary of visual experience. And I can't say that I have anything in mind when I'm going to the post office and I see something. I see something and it strikes a chord in me. And then I reach for my camera and photograph it. I learned to do that because I went to throw away the rubbish in my house in Kraków, my flat. And there was a girl playing in the courtyard and I photographed her. I came out, wow, photographed her, threw away the rubbish, went home. And then I got $2,000 in New York for that photo. My dad told me when I was 12 that his ancestors, or my ancestors, were Polish, Jewish, from Poznań. And so when I was 12, Poland became the promised land in my head, which is quite unusual in the 80s for people to start thinking about communist Poland as the promised land. So I always had this dream to come to Poland, and I used to dream about it when I was young, that I went to live in Poland where it was weird and wonderful, and it is very weird and very wonderful. When I came to Kraków, it was 99 when I came to live here. It was still a very messy place, and as a canvas for an artist, that mess, that chaos was beautiful. I make my photographs from chaos. I need chaos. And then I find order or structure in that chaos. And Kraków was perfect for that because it was a total mess, but a wild mess. Now, since Ryanair 2004, when Ryanair started, when we joined the European Union, it's becoming, has become and is becoming ever more tourist-friendly. which means that it is very conducive to an easy life for a holiday, which is not the same as having a messy canvas to create art from. Sometimes I get frustrated with that, but it's a process that's happening all around the world. You can't avoid it. There's no point complaining about it. And Kraków is beautiful. When people come to visit me, I see them. I take them around Kraków, and I see it through their eyes, and I realize, wow, this is a pretty nice place to live. Yeah. And I can't think of many cities that are that nice to live in. But more and more, I'm starting to see Kraków as a base from which to go further afield. Polish countryside is starting to interest me a lot. Beskid Niski, places like that. But as for working in Kraków itself, I will always carry my camera to the post office or when I throw the rubbish away. And you never know. You never know what you will find. The longer I'm a photographer, the less often I take good photographs. It used to be 6 a year, and now it's 1 a year. In Poland, in Kraków, not when I go to Africa. That's for various reasons, but there's a sense of frustration. I want to create, but because of time or other reasons, the pandemic changed things. It's really slowed down, and I want it to speed up. So what I would like, ideally, when I lived in Warsaw, I had a dream that I went to a town north of Warsaw, which doesn't exist, called Szczurowo, which I guess is like city of rats or something. You could translate it like that. And in Szczurowo, there were 2 priests who used skateboards to get around. And the priests were showing me around the city, and everywhere there was a photograph. So I would like to find a place like Szczurowo,